So morning, everyone. Those who are joining us live, it's always lovely to have you here. And those who are listening later, welcome. You're here with us in spirit. So there've been a few little check-ins, but if anyone wants to sort of check in and write a few lines of how they're feeling this morning or how they've been feeling over the last few days, it's always nice to bring other voices into this. It's always lovely to have your engagement. So I wanted to chat a little bit about some of those geomagnetic storms that we had over the weekend that seemed to create some of the incredible night skies that we're seeing in so many different parts of the world. Unfortunately, I didn't see anything. I don't know if anyone did in South Africa. And so I went through some of Pam Gregory's. She did a talk on the geomagnetic storms. She did it before this weekend, past weekend on her YouTube, which I try to understand and relay, but I didn't really manage to. It was a little bit above me. But the crux of it is that there's an incredible amount of solar and geomagnetic activity and energy. And she talks about experiencing 13 or 14 M-class flares. So this is not astrology, this is astronomy. This is the science and the measured stuff of the stars in the solar system. So 13 or 14 M-class solar flares and 5 X-class solar flares, which are 10 times stronger than the M-class flares, in just 1 or 2 days last week. And that was before the storm, with the potential for much more over the storm. And just to put it into perspective, in 2018, the whole year, there was not one M-class solar flare. So there's a huge amount of solar activity, and this will cause a lot of instability and disruptions to communication, to anything that's electromagnetic, and our bodies are definitely magnetic. So anything that relies on magnetism. She talked about a radio blackout in Asia, things like that. So it's very hard to really understand, and often it just feels like life carries on as normal. But she explains a lot on her Facebook posts and her YouTube videos that the crux of the matter is that the energy is more intense than we've ever experienced, which may lead to restlessness and anxiety and lack of sleep, anger, agitation. And basically, she just really encourages us to stay in our coherence, because the more coherent our energy is, the more we'll stay in our love, our joy, peace, compassion, and gratitude, and to be able to rise above the storm, as opposed to being in our fearful, agitated, angry way, which is a little bit like that interference on a TV. Those of us who are from those days will remember how we used to try and tune the TV and get all that interference. And so when we're feeling those emotions, it's not necessarily to suppress it, but it's to go back and ground ourselves by walking barefoot on the grass, by hugging a tree, by breathing, by meditating, by drinking lots of pure water, just to try and ground ourselves and bring back and do practices like we're going to do this morning. So if anyone has anything to add about the solar storms or anything like that, you're welcome to type in the chat or to share later afterwards. After when we get a chance to chat. Because I want to say that after our mindful moment last week, which seemed to strike a chord for so many, and if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, please do, and please think of sharing it as well. I've had so many private messages. And the affirmation was, I am worthy. I was born worthy. I need nothing outside myself to claim my true value. And I wanted to share a newsletter from a woman called, she's actually Dr. Emma Sapala. She's a Yale psychologist and scientist and a sort of happiness researcher. And she writes lovely newsletters from time to time. She's just published a book called Sovereign. And this was her snippet from her newsletter. As we enter Mother's Day weekend, this idea always comes to mind. Whoever lovingly cares for another should be celebrated on this day. And if you subscribe to this newsletter, you are undoubtedly someone who cares for others. So my question is to you then, is, how deeply do you care for yourself? That in part determines your sovereignty. I share the following embarrassing story, one of many, in my new book, Sovereign. One Saturday, I was slated to give an opening keynote at an online conference. I don't usually work on Saturdays, so without thinking about it, I took the kids to a park 45 minutes away from our house. The kids were throwing rocks into a lake when this text came in. Having trouble logging on? ? The keynote, I'd forgotten about it. We'd planned for over 6 months, and now I was letting them down. Devastated, I cringed. It felt like I was wearing a full-body shame suit. Ever had an epic fail, a humiliating moment, a total flop? Take a minute to think back on that moment. What did you say to yourself? If you're anything like the corporate executives I teach at the Yale School of Management, the words go something like this. You're such an idiot. You're so stupid. You're such a mess. Read those harsh words one more time, registering how they make you feel. These are the abusive words humans tear themselves apart with. I then ask participants in my class to perform a different exercise. Think of your best friend or a person dear to you. I invite you to do the same right now. Imagine that person calling you right now. They've just made a cringeworthy mistake. They feel ashamed, devastated, and embarrassed. Take a minute to think what you would say to them. Judging from what my students tell me, inevitably the answer will go something like this. It's okay. Don't worry. Everybody makes mistakes. You've got this. Go back and read that list one more time as if you were speaking to yourself. Notice what you feel. Relief, warmth, and solace. There is nurturing, there's love, there's respect, there's perspective. Here's something to ponder. Why is there such a difference between the words that we use for ourselves versus the ones we use for someone we love? Why? What is the only difference between you and your friend? There's only one difference. You live in different bodies. See that? It makes no sense to treat yourself differently. With the hashtag self-care, with health self-care hashtags exploding on social media, you would think it has to do with bubble baths and chocolate. While that may feel good for a moment, it won't make much of a difference over the long run. Honoring yourself involves reprogramming yourself from the inside. Consider what would happen if you loved and cared for yourself as much as you do for others. How would you treat you if you were your own child? With kindness, understanding, and forgiveness. Consider how that would make you feel. Safe, comforted, strong, resilient, confident, secure, centered, calm, energized, and at ease. Sovereign. At face value, someone might dismiss self-love as weak, but it is not. It makes you powerful beyond measure. You, more than anyone else, are deserving of your own love. After all, it's the only relationship you're guaranteed to have 24/7 your whole life. How will you choose to treat yourself, not just in the good times, but also when you fail, when you're tired, when you're ashamed, when you're lonely, when you're flawed, scared, or at a loss? When you make your relationship with yourself the best one you've got, you automatically become sovereign, unhooked from others' wants and from depleting and destructive conditioning that takes away your power. And that's one reason sovereignty is so energizing. After all, we long to be seen, heard, valued, and appreciated. We have the strong need to feel safe and to trust. Once you create this kind of relationship with yourself, you stop seeking self-worth in others. You stop looking for validation and recognition from the outside when you provide that to yourself. You become sovereign. She shared a couple of podcasts that she spoke in. And it just feels like, because when we say, I'm worthy, I was born worthy, we can so easily affirm that to our friends, our family, our children. And it's something so important to keep affirming to ourselves. And this is basically what she's saying, and even making cringeworthy mistakes. And that is just a huge mistake that she's made. And she's become so open and honest about sharing it that allows us to recognize that we too can make mistakes. So, yeah. I invite you now for us just to take the next few minutes to just ground ourselves, to find a time of settling in this time of huge solar activity. And follow Julia Fehrenbacher's instructions for today. Try this. Close your tired eyes. Breathe deeply. Say thank you. Even if you're poor or sick or without hope, let shouts and whispers speak until the hard and stern fade into a watery ripple of love. So I invite you to close your eyes, to breathe, and to say thank you just for this moment as we settle and ground ourselves. Following each breath, and with each breath, noticing how we can drop more into our bodies, dropping out of our heads, out of our minds and the busyness that's going on there. And just dropping into being in this moment. Allowing your attention to be drawn into your body and even down to your feet. Noticing where your feet connect on the earth beneath you. Feeling points of contact between your feet and the earth. Noticing into the anchoring of your feet on the earth. Settling into a groundedness, a rootedness. Feeling the support that the earth is offering you just at this moment. And receiving the support as a great tree finds its rootedness and support in the earth and receives its nourishment from the earth. And then moving your attention up in your body, noticing your ankles, your calves, your knees. Moving up into your thighs, your hips, your pelvis, and now holding your whole lower limbs in your awareness. Feeling the rootedness, groundedness that they offer, the strength and support that they offer. Moving up into your pelvic bowl, abdomen, knowing all the activity that goes on here in our bodies every moment of every day. without our conscious control, without our input. The vitality of our body being renewed every day. Moving up our spine into our rib cage. Feeling the strength and the support that our spine and our rib cage offer us, which allow for the softness of our abdomen, our lungs, our heart space. And noticing each breath, the rise and the fall of our chest and of our heart space with each breath. The rise and the fall of our abdomen too. And then allowing your attention to move upwards to shoulders, neck, inviting a gentle softening. It's a gentle letting go. Allowing your attention to sweep down your upper arm, elbow, forearm and hands. These arms with which we reach out to the world around us. And the arms that we invite our loved ones in. And then moving back up from your hands, wrists, arms, shoulders, up into your neck, back of your head, ears, forehead, eyes, nose, mouth, lips. And again, just bring into awareness all that these parts of our bodies do. The seeing, the smelling, the hearing, the tasting. Everything that happens beyond our control and often beyond our awareness. And then following the breath from the nostrils, the back of the throat, down into the heart space. And allowing it to settle in our heart space. Inviting a sensation of gratitude into this heart space. Thank you. Thank you for our heartbeat, for our breath, all the tiny miracles that go on in our body every moment of the day. Just noticing if this gratitude is sitting in your heart space like a bubble or like a ball of light. Noticing if it has a color or texture. Feeling if there's a weight to it. And with each breath, just allowing it to expand, opening up and moving through your whole body. And if your thoughts start to wander, just bringing them back to this sensation of gratitude in your heart space. This feeling of grounding, of breathing. And if there are worries or anxieties that keep coming up for you, just resting them in this heart space, in this bubble, surrounding them with this feeling of gratitude. Not trying to solve them, not trying to think about them, just holding them here in the heart space. And connecting with the sensation of gratitude. Try this. Close your tired eyes, breathe deeply, say thank you, even if you're sick or poor or without hope. Let shouts and whispers speak until the hard and stern fade away into a watery ripple of love. Let shouts and whispers speak until the hard and stern fade into a watery ripple of love. And taking a deep breath in and audibly sighing out. Just doing this for a few more breaths as we let go of this time of meditation. Moving into your shoulders, forearms, wrists, hands, ankles and feet. And when you're ready, opening your eyes, coming back to the room and the space that you find yourself in. Namaste. Thank you, Hilda. Yeah, I think many of us have felt emotionally volatile and not able to sleep and feeling rather tired and wondering what's wrong with us and things like that. I've heard that from a lot of people. And thank you for this Thank you for your lovely message. Thank you for creating this community and the space for us to grant ourselves grace and love. It's appreciated. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Hilda. And please feel free to invite others. It would be lovely to grow this community. We need more of this in our lives. And I'm not particularly good at posting it on social media, but I will more often. Just next week is Colin, my husband's 50th birthday, next Wednesday. And so I want to give myself the space and time to just enjoy the morning with him. And so we're going to pause the mindful moments next week, Wednesday, but it will be back after that. So if it's in your calendar and part of your routine, which I hope it is, then perhaps just listen to one of the recordings again. There's always other things that we pick up. Yeah, so please feel free to unmute and to chat or to share anything, or also to carry on with your day if you need to go.
Thanks so much, Nicola.
Thanks, Jean-Marie. Lovely to have you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. And if you want to have any of the links I talked about, just ask in the Mindful Moment group. Wish you a blessed day.